Google is going to start having their AI make lots of calls to companies in a way that I think is pretty irresponsible. So I wanted to talk about that, opt in versus opt out in tech, and the way Google and other companies use this to kind of crowdsource free labor. Deciding whether a new feature should be opt in or opt out is often really a challenge, and there's tension between consumers and the companies. Like when there's a default ad newsletter, then the consumer, probably want that off by default, requiring you to opt in. But some things are more gray, like what about new security features? You often might think that those should be opt out, they should be on by default. But let's say the new security feature is multi-factor via texting, and you have some percentage of your users that don't have mobile phones. Well, that may be a challenge that you need to work through. But oftentimes, I think for some decisions, there are clear, bright lines in what's good for the company and the consumer, and what I think is the wrong decision gets made. The stuff Google is rolling out now is expanding their feature called Google Duplex that they've had for a while, which if a company didn't have programmatic ways to make restaurant reservations or something like that, they would have their AI call and do it for them. And now they're expanding that a lot, but it's going to work on any company that they have in their database, and the company, if they don't want to receive those AI calls, have to specifically go in, set up a Google account if they don't have one already, and opt out of getting those calls. And if they change phone numbers or anything like that, have to make sure that they keep Google updated with their info. And this is kind of what I mean when I talk about the free labor stuff, which might not be true in the most literal sense, but Google's AI has and is going to continue to have problems. And it's going to take hours, probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of human hours to answer these calls, to take reservations, to respond to bad calls, to correct information that's wrong. And a lot of that is going to be borne by these shop owners, and Google is not going to have to pay for that. And this is endemic throughout the tech industry. I mean, you go to a lot of sites and you're going to see a CAPTCHA where it's going to ask you to identify, stop signs. That's training Google's self-driving cars, and it's supposed to protect sites from bots. And yet, every site I go on seems to have a whole lot of bots. If you have Amazon devices at home, that's broadcasting the Amazon Sidewalk network. If you have Apple devices, that's being part of the Find My AirTags network, things that Amazon and Apple make money on and sell as features. A lot of these companies will say that turning them on by default is the only way that products like these can exist, and maybe that's true, but I think it's also just another way of saying that they know they're going to be introducing lots of external costs and labor, and they want to make sure that it's borne by people that aren't on their payroll, and by people that will hopefully only be getting a small enough amount that they won't make a big deal out of it. Follow me for more stuff on tech ethics, privacy, and security.